want to talk about intimacy, you guys. I know I've made a video about this intimacy between a husband and wife and how the Lord blesses them during that moment and how deep and beautiful it is, but I want to talk more about it and really just encourage you married peoples to draw nearer to each other during this time of intimacy and to draw near to God during that time too, because it's so beautiful, you guys. It's so beautiful. Okay, basically, intimacy between my husband and I has the power to heal my heart in such deep, deep ways that I can't even begin to explain to you with perfect words. I'm trying, but gosh, ever since we were kids, when we got married, I was 17 and he was 20, okay? And Jesus really blessed us in that part of our marriage. I mean, ever since, we've always been very open with each other and have always had this instant connection in that way. And it's godly, it's beautiful, it's God ordained, so it's only natural. And obviously, the longer we've been together, the more closer we've bonded, and even through the hardest parts of our marriage years ago, all of the hardest parts of our marriage has really been a blessing to us in many ways, because we've grown so close to each other and to God through all of that, and through all of our many hard trials together, we've just grown closer together and to God. So it's natural and normal for married couples who have been together for so long to just continue growing closer to each other and falling more in love if they're sincerely drawing closer to one another into God. If God's the center of their marriage, then He'll be the center of their intimacy, and it'll become natural to experience the things that I'm about to tell you that we experience during our intimacy. Some of the things that Paul and I experience during intimacy is God healing our hearts. And it can be from something that we've been dealing with since childhood, if it's a trauma that we went through, or it's hard to explain, you guys, but I'm gonna try. For me personally, Jesus, in those moments with my husband, Jesus brings me to many different moments in my life, from the past and the present and even the future. And what I mean by that is He's so deeply encouraging me during that time of intimacy with my husband, and about the many times in my life when He was pleased with me. It's just so natural to desire to connect with God during that time, and my husband at the same time. And my heart, my mind, and my spirit are one with God and my husband in that moment. I mean, we are all the time anyways, but it's just so much deeper, you guys. Because on one hand, my husband and I are sharing something so intimate and beautiful that only we do with each other. And God is there with us, and He's rejoicing over us in those moments. And then on the other hand, it's bringing me into a deeper intimacy that only God could explain to you, if you experience this for yourself. With Him, it's a deeper intimacy with Him, it's a deeper intimacy with my husband, and it's, for example, Jesus can heal my heart in that moment. He'll bring up a time in my childhood when He wanted me to be comforted, and even memories of joy are brought up in those moments, and we're celebrating all of the good that God has done in my life in that moment, okay? Whether it's from when I was a child to today, it doesn't matter. Jesus and I will go there, and my husband too. We go to this place of praising one another and just loving each other so deeply in that moment. And through that, Jesus will reward us with a deep, deep intimacy and love that is the most amazing feeling. And it's so hard to explain because God's explained it to me like this, that it is the most satisfying physical feeling that a person can feel with their body, but it's also so satisfying that a person can feel in their spirit in sharing the intimacy with their spouse and with God in that moment. And it's not something learned. It's just something that happens when a person draws near to Jesus and they get to this deep place where they walk with him and talk with him and share every moment with him, and he becomes everything to that heart. So he becomes a person's intimacy and joy, and all good things come from Jesus. So it's natural to want to include him in all of our happy moments and all of our moments, and to give him honor and praise. And it's hard to explain because, like, God will enter the room during our intimate moments. He enters the room at times. It's not all the time, but he's there with us all the time. But I mean, he'll like make himself known to us in a very deep way sometimes during that time, and he will be praising both of us. Like, he will be talking to both of us about each other, and we'll just naturally be walking in one spirit of having this conversation of like praising one another for things, and then thanking God, and then praising God in those moments for how good he is, and just for blessing us with each other as that precious gift that he's given us, which is each other. And Jesus will heal my heart in so many ways. Like, it just depends, but sometimes I'll just be having a hard day or whatever. Like, for example, when I was severely persecuted by, like, family, you know, like my kin or my parents, you know, or people I used to know and used to be friends with, or even just, like, back when I had that hard trial of being persecuted by strangers and people who made up all kinds of lies about me and made videos, like 40+ videos on YouTube, mad, just slandering me for no reason at all. During that time, Jesus would comfort me, and he, you know, would make himself known in a deep way, like, to where he was telling me that he was praising me, and he was proud of me for continuing to love when I was being severely hated and mocked. And then, like, another example is, like, when he's healing me of my childhood trauma and just the way that I was treated by my mother. Like, Jesus will bring up wounds in my heart that he's healing in that moment, and he'll say that no one can take away this beautiful healing that he's doing in my heart in that moment, and that beautiful, intense feeling of deep love from him and my husband in that moment. And, like, he'll tell me, like, she can't take away this beautiful moment that I've given you between you and I, and between your husband and us, and no matter who is hurting you, nobody has the power to take this away from you right now. And he would just tell me, like, as much as I'm being hurt by others from being persecuted, that God was honoring me and loving me. And he would say, do you see, like, how you've been slandered and hurt so much, but right now no one can take this away from you. No one can take this joy and this feeling of bliss, serenity, and this satisfaction and pleasure away from you, from your spirit, from your body, from your mind, from your heart. From this moment, no one can take it away from you.